Welcome to the UIAAA Connection podcast. We thank GoFan and VNN, the exclusive sponsors of the UIAAA Connection. Now operating as one combined company, GoFan and VNN offer a seamless experience through digital ticketing and athletic websites. They make it easy to direct fans to one central place for schedules, communication, and tickets for both home and away events. We appreciate GoFan and VNN for their continued support and exclusive sponsorship of the UIAAA Connection podcast.
Welcome back to another edition of the UIAAA Connection. I'm your host, Mark Hutchhunter. Today we have as our special guest, Jeremy Barlow, Director of Athletics at Granger High School. Welcome to the podcast, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Let's have you begin by sharing with our audience, both here in the U.S. and around the world, where you grew up, where you went to college, your first job, etc.
I grew up in a little town called Enterprise, Utah.
Okay.
Down in the southern corner of the state. Lived there my whole life. I went to Enterprise High School, all that. I served an LDS mission in California, came back in Los Angeles, California, by the way. And then came back and went to Southern Utah University. Spent 4 years there. Interesting story. I got my first job at Laverkin High School. Well, it's Laverkin. They don't have a high school. It was a facility for troubled youth, and that's where I got my very first teaching job. Taught PE there. Did my student teaching there, and then just stayed on for the remainder of the year and taught. And then I got a job in West Valley at Westlake Junior High. Taught there for 6 years, and the whole time looking for a high school job, looking to get into the high school, get into coaching. And when they built the new school at Granger, the new building there, kind of opened up a few positions, and got my first opportunity there in 2015, and I've been at Granger ever since.
Perfect. So you were a graduate of the machine factory. You graduated from there. Was Dr. Lunt still there when you were there?
Dr. Lund was still there. Yeah. Dr. Lund, Rick Lamson was still there.
Mhm.
All those guys were. I graduated from SU in 2009 and started my first job there in 2000. Started my first job. No, I graduated in 2008. It seems like so long ago.
Well, 18 years ago.
Yeah, well, seems like more.
Yeah. So Enterprise, let me see if my memories are the Enterprise, are they the Wolves?
We are the Wolves.
All right,
Still
good.
are.
There you go.
Forever will be the Wolves.
That's awesome. So talk for a minute, in a smaller town in Utah, was the participation in youth sports limited, or will you be able to still play, basketball, little league baseball? I'm not
Oh yeah,
sure if football would have been down there.
so yeah, we had and we still do, Enterprise. I say we like I still live there because it's that near and
Yeah,
dear to me, but Enterprise
sure.
still runs a tremendous little league program. We played little league, and they run little league basketball, little league uh, baseball, and really, really good job teaching the fundamentals and sports. So we had great opportunities there. We didn't have football when I was a youth there. We didn't have soccer. Pretty much baseball and basketball and some bantam wrestling were the three main sports that you played as a youth. Yeah, but the youth coaches were really good. They knew the game. They knew how to teach it. They taught it right. Very competitive. We did. I mean, our little league would then go on and play, in all-star games versus Cedar
Hmm.
and St. George and all throughout southern Utah. So it was
Perfect.
a great place to grow up.
if you're traveling not from St. George, because I know how to get there from St. George, if you're traveling on I-15, what's the quickest way to get to Enterprise? And then who was your closest rival? And one, how far away was that road
Okay.
trip for your closest rival?
All right. So if you're heading south on I-15, you're going to get off in Cedar City, and
Uh-huh.
you're going to take Highway 56 straight west for about 35, 40 minutes, and then it intersects with uh, Highway 18. You take a left on Highway 18, and about 10 minutes you're in Enterprise. So yeah, it's kind of a lonesome highway out that way, but closest. So I actually had the opportunity when I was in high school. We went from 1A to 2A my
Two-way,
junior year.
okay.
Yeah, so 1A by far our biggest rival. I don't know. For us, I would say our biggest rival was Panguitch at that time,
Mm-hmm.
and about an hour and a half away. It's kind of a drive to get there, but we had a lot of good battles with Panguitch, both in
Well,
basketball
with
and
Panguitch,
baseball.
you'd have to go to Cedar and then go up the canyon
Yeah,
up to Long Valley and
that's
then
right.
up to Panguitch that way. So that's a
Yeah,
little bit of a drive.
yeah. But
Awesome.
those were where memories were made. Those bus trips,
Yeah.
they were fun.
Jeremy, let's have you talk for a minute about the leaders, the teachers, the mentors, the coaches you had in your life that made a difference for you as a young athlete and then in your professional life.
Um, I would say by far my biggest mentor was my parents, my dad. He coached in high school for 25 years. Plus, he coached basketball. He coached both boys and girls. He actually transitioned to girls when I got into high school because I think he knew that we would probably clash a little bit as coach and son. So he moved on to the girls and then coached me all through Little League. He's my mentor mostly because he taught us the value of hard work. I mean, growing up out there, I mean, it was farming and it was sports. That's kind of what our lives revolved around. My, I was blessed to have my dad and his brothers owned a John Deere dealership, and from the time we were knee high, we started working at the John Deere dealership, and the only thing that got us out of work was sports. And so
Okay.
it was a really good opportunity for us. It really encouraged us to get involved in athletics because we knew we wouldn't have to work quite as much if we got to go to practice or got to go to a game. So uh, I think as I look back, for sure, my dad and my mom and the work ethic that they taught us and what they taught us there, and the value of when you commit to something, you're all in. It's you don't just put your foot in. You jump in and get after it. And then I had so many really good coaches. Coach Terry Bowler was our baseball coach. He's in the Utah Hall of Fame for baseball, and he's he's one of the humblest guys I've ever met. But I mean, his record proves itself. He's a state champion multiple years, and he just the way he coached is a lot of the way I model my coaching and my leadership after is, man, let people be people and just guide them, give them advice, help them. Uh, but people can do a good job if you just give them a little bit of space and guidance to do that. So uh, lots of really good mentors and people that I try to model my life after. And then, of course, getting into the athletic administration side. I followed in the footsteps of old Chris Shipman, who's
Hmm.
now up at the UHSA, and he's still a mentor. I questions and things come up. That's my first go-to guy. He probably wants to block my phone number sometimes because I call him quite often, but he answers every time and he helps me work through anything. Uh it's a good mentor to have. It's a good friend to rely on right there.
Absolutely. So you mentioned Chris. He was the AD at Granger, and I talked to you earlier off camera. So Sarah was still there as the AD before
Yeah.
she moved on to West. So how did you decide to go into athletic administration? Chris left, they opened up the job, or they asked you because he left, or how exactly? Because I know you still coach a little bit. So what made that decision in your mind?
So yeah, so it all kind of happened pretty quick. Chris had decided to move up to the district, and with that, the position opened up, and Sarah had left previously. So uh, I looked around and I thought, I've coached volleyball when I started there. I coached football, coached some track and field, I coached basketball, and I thought, what's the next step? Like, what can I do to challenge myself? What can I do to maybe help Granger a little bit more? And that seemed like the obvious choice. So yeah, they opened it up inside the school first, and I threw my hat in the ring and said, "Hey, I'd love to try this out, give it a shot." And we're going on 7 years, 7 or 8 years now. So
Perfect. Okay, so talking about Chris, so talk about what it's like. I mean, that's big footsteps. Chris is really a legend out in the Granger community, and obviously, as you mentioned, he's up at the UHSAA now. I see him all the time when I'm down there at the office. So talk about what it's like to fill into his footsteps and follow someone of legendary status at a high school.
yeah, I'll tell you what, it wasn't easy at first. It took some time to realize that. Well, it's like they say, you gotta take the good and then work through everything else. But most of all, you just gotta be yourself, right? Uh, Shiv, he he is who he is, and he does a great job at everything he does. And I just have to worry about being my best self, um, and then relying on, like I said before, relying on those around me to help me out and get me there. Uh, I'll tell you what, it was a big step for me uh, to try to fill those shoes. And then when I decided that I can't fill his shoes, I can just be Coach Barlow. That's who I am. That's what I can do, and I got to do it my way. And that really helped me out, helped me realize that it's okay. And you know, 7 years, 8 years later, they're coming around. They're doing all right. We're doing all right, and that's how it goes in life, right? There's always going to be changes. There's always going to be the next man up. That's how I coach. Next man up. If someone's out, we gotta bring the next guy up, and they gotta fill in the best they can, and that's all I try to do every day.
Well, that's a great way to look at it because you can't. It's like you said, you can't be shipped. You can only be you, be the best version of you, and I'm sure those kids out of Granger appreciate it. So thank you for sharing that. Let me ask you a little bit of a personal question here, Jeremy. What's your biggest failure or disappointment in life, and what did you learn from
Oh man, just one, because
it? Yeah,
there
I know
there's
all of us have had many, but just pick one.
there's many. I thinking about it. Right out of high school. So, like I said, we went from 1A to 2A. So we picked up football my junior year.
Right.
Um, and I jumped in all in. I was all in on the football, and I did pretty well. And then my senior year, I was a little bit better. Man, I thought I was the stuff, and I thought I was doing pretty good. And but being from a small town, I didn't get the exposure maybe I thought I should, or maybe I wanted. So I thought I'd go walk on at Dixie State. I guess it was Dixie State back then. Now it's Utah Tech. But I walked in that first day thinking kind of I was a hot shot, and I deserved to be there, and I probably did, but I probably took the wrong attitude maybe, and I got humbled real quick. Um, I did not make the team. I got let go after the first day, uh, and I took that pretty hard. It's a pretty big failure, pretty big shot to the ego. But what I learned from that is that life moves on. Like that opportunity didn't work out for me, but man, there's been so many other really good opportunities for me since then that man, I would have loved to play for Dixie. I would have loved to play collegiate, football. But it just wasn't for me. I wasn't able to do that. But I think sometimes a lot of us and youth nowadays need to learn the value of failure because like we just watched the state playoffs for basketball. There's only one champion. Like
Right.
there's not, five state champions. There's one state champion in each division and we got to learn to celebrate what we did and move on from the failures and grow from them. And I think that's what I did. I understood that I still love athletics. I still wanted to be part of it. I just wasn't going to be a college football at Dixie State.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that insight and that story with us.
You got,
I want you to speak for a minute about the job of athletic administration. You've been in it 7, 8 years now. Talk about just in the short time, well, not that short of a time that you've been in AD, just talk about the changes and how much bigger the job has gotten just in the past 8 years.
yeah. I mean, I feel like when we started, it was, make sure we got some officials there, make sure, there's some Gatorade and snacks for them, and then, make sure the game starts. And now I mean, field maintenance and budgets and transfers and just the amount of behind the scenes activity that happens for athletic administration. Court in Granite School District in Granger, we still teach, and so
Hmm.
I'm teaching half the time. I'm athletic director half the time, and still coaching a little on the side. So um, just the volume and publicity of athletics has really grown a lot. I think the state of Utah is doing a great job of really promoting high school sports and making them more visible across the state. Um, like I said, the state tournament was just awesome to watch, and the amount of coverage that was given and the media, the social media accounts, all that is such a huge aspect of this job and managing uh, athletics at any high school. So I think it's changed a lot. It's gone from um, just managing the day to managing
Hmm.
a large corporation, um, a large school, um, I'm losing my words here, but a large corporation of athletics. Um, very visible, very public now.
Let me ask you this. So do they still, I know when Sarah was there, so you had Chip and you had Sarah, kind of a male and a female AD. Do they still do that, or are you the sole AD
No,
at
we
Granger?
still, yeah, we still have a second AD. It's Hiram Okeson at this point.
Okay.
And uh, there's some moving parts there. Like I'm more the background, make sure, taking care of Arbiter, taking care of Rich, my athlete, taking care of all the, budgets and different things like that. And he's more the game day uh,
Okay.
athletic director, where he takes care of making sure we have the officials set up, making sure we have workers for the games and different aspects of the day to day.
So you just kind of split the duties between the two of you,
Yeah,
and you're still overwhelmed.
and still don't have
Yeah.
enough time in the day. I'll tell you what.
Absolutely. All right, let's have you talk for a minute about your journey with the UIAAA, how you became aware of it. I think I can guess how, but how you became aware of it, what made you decide to start attending conferences and networking with the members, etc. Talk about that for a minute.
Oh, well, obviously I got the connection through Chris Shipman. He told me
Right.
all about it, told me how important it was, and he wasn't kidding. I think just the value of the connections inside the leadership and having the network ability uh, with the UIAAA. I'll tell you what, the hardest part for me still is baseball seasons in the spring. It's hard to get to those
Mhm.
conferences in the spring. Uh,
Absolutely.
we play 3 games a week for the next, 2 months.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
once region starts, because you play everybody, nobody plays the home and away anymore in baseball. You play them in a three-game series.
yeah, we play 3 game series, and I love it. It's a lot of baseball, and baseball is awesome, but it does make it a little difficult for attending those, and I miss them. I was able to attend the conference last year in St. George, and man, it's just so good to go down there and ask questions and talk amongst all the other athletic directors and the leadership in the UIAAA that can share years of experience. I was talking with Boog from Bountiful
Yeah,
last year, and just getting his experience of how he took on more of a larger role in the athletics department as the athletic director at his place, and it kind of inspired me. And I've gone to my administration asking for more responsibilities and a bigger role in athletics and trying to help Granger move forward. Uh, so just back to the question, I get a little sidetracked there, but just the connection and the ability to connect with other athletic directors and administration and gain knowledge from them, because there's no new situations, there's just different situations, and someone's gone through it somewhere, and someone
that
has the
is
answer, and someone knows uh, what you're going through and how to help you through it. So
that is
it's
so true, and that is
it's
so
been
well
really, really
said.
good.
That's excellent. Tell me this, Jeremy, what's one common myth about being an athletic director you would like to debunk to the general public?
Well, I think one is that it's a glorious job. Like, um, I was I was talking to my wife about it the other day, and I just said, it's kind of a tough situation sometimes being the athletic director, because if someone's not mad at you, if a coach isn't mad at you, if a player's not mad at you, if a parent's not mad at you, then you're probably not doing your job very well. And it's no fun for someone to be mad at you, but it usually comes with the territory. So I think the idea of, everyone loves their athletic director all the time is the one that needs to be debunked the most. Eventually, someone's going to get upset with you, but you know, uh, it's kind of how it goes sometimes, and you move on and move forward.
That is well said. Thank you for sharing. What's the favorite part of your job?
Oh man, my favorite part of the job is getting to interact with more athletes. So many, like, I, so I coach basketball and baseball at Granger as well as being the athletic director. So I get to know those athletes really well. But my favorite part is getting to know all the athletes, getting to, connect with them a little bit better than maybe just a coach would. Uh, for example, I had some girl basketball players that I got to know, and I don't rarely get to see their games because I'm usually coaching the boys' game during their games, so I don't get to see them play as much, and getting to bring them in and talk to them about their experience and how things are going uh, is a really good connection. And I try to do that with a lot of our athletes, is make a connection, talk to them, see how they're feeling. See, uh, that's something you don't always do when you're not their coach or specifically with them all the time. So that's my favorite part of the job is the connection you get to make with a whole bunch of athletes.
Well said. Let's finish up with a couple of questions. The first being this, Jeremy. You have a brand new athletic administrator, and they need two suggestions in order to become a success, and they need to follow Jeremy's two suggestions to become that successful AD. What would those two suggestions be?
One, first and foremost, be yourself. Uh, we talked earlier about filling Chris's shoes. Um, my style growing up is all about the work and not being scared of it. And so that's just who I am, and that's the way I'm going to be. So I would suggest number one, just be who you are. Like we all have strengths, follow those strengths and really steer into those. And people will see that and they'll appreciate it. And I think the second one is don't be scared to ask questions. There's so many people out there that want to help, that have been in your shoes, been where you're at, and honestly, I think that's huge for me. I mean, Pam over at Hunter, she's one of my go-to connections. Like she knows the handbook, front, back, sideways, upside down. She can she
Hmm.
can she can answer any question I ever have. So I think those would be my two suggestions. Be who you are and be okay with it, and two, make connections and don't be scared to rely on those people around you.
Great answers. Thanks so much for sharing. We'll finish with this. Jeremy, what question should I have asked you that I failed to ask you?
You didn't ask me whether or not my wife appreciates me coaching and being the athletic director and teaching.
Okay, well then I'll ask you now. How does she like the fact that you're a coach and an AD?
She doesn't always love it, but she is super supportive. I think if you're going to be in this job, you got to have uh, people around you that are going to support you because you're gone a lot. You're constantly. I don't know how everyone else does it. Maybe I should turn my phone off more often, but I get questions morning, evening, night, and anytime in between. And she just rolls with the punches. She knows that every once in a while I'm going to get a phone call and I got to step out and I'm going to go answer it. And then I'm going to come back and try to make start the conversation over again. So I think that's I just think that's super great of those around me that really support what I do and what I love.
That is well said. On that note, that wraps up this edition of the UIAAA Connection. Again, our special guest today has been Jeremy Barlow, the Director of Athletics at Granger High School. Jeremy, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
You bet.
For our listeners, we hope you tune in again next week for another edition of the UIAAA Connection.